What's up, Jolinator Club? Okay, so this week marks the opening of Star Trek Beyond, so we gotta prep for this. Now, I'm gonna let you guys know right now, I have not seen every single Star Trek movie. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. I've seen the Abrams movies, and I own them, so I figured, okay, let's review these before Star Trek Beyond comes out. So with that said, we're gonna be talking about the J.J. Abrams Star Trek from 2009. That's it. Whoop! Alright, let's jump right into this. I am so excited. Alright, so Star Trek came out in 2009, and like I said, it's a reboot of the Star Trek franchise. J.J. Abrams directed it, and because of this movie, I am a huge Star Trek fan. Now, a lot of you might know me as a Star Wars fan, but the fact is, you can have both. You can be a Star Trek person and a Star Wars person. Get used to it. Anywho. So, and by the way, this movie's been out for a while, so I'm just going to warn you, this review is going to be pretty spoiler heavy, so if you have not seen Star Trek, get the heck out of here. Okay, so let's talk about it. So Star Trek starts off with this ship. It's not the Enterprise or anything. I think it might be the Kelvin, something like that. And Nero is just shooting the ship up, and everybody's getting knocked out. There's just one shot where like a hole gets blown into the ship, and this chick goes, doop, and it doesn't even make any noise. I love it when it shows that space has no sound. And the captain's like, okay, evacuate everybody, get them to the shuttles. And then George Kirk, played by Chris Hemsworth, he's like, okay, get everybody out of here, get my pregnant wife out of there, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to fight these guys off. And I really like that George Kirk is played by Chris Hemsworth, because that's right, for those of you who didn't know it, before Chris Hemsworth was Thor or anybody, he was George Kirk, Jim Kirk's dad. Gotta start somewhere. Pretty awesome place to start. Good job, bro. And so anyway, his wife is now about to give birth, and she's like, wait, where are you? And he goes, look, I gotta stay behind and fight him off. The shuttles will never make it if I don't fight him off. And this is heartbreaking stuff right here, guys. I'm telling you guys, whenever I see this, it touches me. It touches my heart. Alright, so now we meet Jim Kirk. He's kind of down on his luck. He's not in Starfleet or anything. I'll get to that in just a minute. Most people nowadays, the only reference they have is the old Star Trek where, like with Shatner and everything. But the reason is because in the old Star Trek days, Jim Kirk was awesome. In this Star Trek, he's like, okay, let's rock out. Let's go up to the bar and hit on chicks. And so he does that, and I gotta tell you, and when he's in that bar, he meets Captain Pike, who, hardcore Star Trek fans like myself remember. And then that bar fight where he's just swinging at those dudes, that fight has one of the coolest hits I've ever seen, where fists are flying, Kirk takes a bottle and smashes it against the guy's face. It's just like wow, I feel like that bottle really hit that guy. Love that. Okay, now I know this is kind of off topic, but I'm just going to mention it right away. I heard a quote from J.J. Abrams saying, when he was like, we're making this Star Trek movie not for Star Trek fans, but for fans who love movies. Right there, I was like, that's interesting to say, but people might not like it if they're a Star Trek fan, but I loved it. Essentially, what he was saying was, I am making a well-constructed movie, not just some big fan service movie. The fan service will be in the movie, but I'm making the movie primarily for people who love movies. Let's face it, that's people like you and me, guys. So, I guarantee you, if you are a Star Trek fan or a fan of movies in general, you're going to like this movie, and chances are you're probably going to love it. And I love that it illustrates the strength of the movie. Well, before I get to that, it even has the Kobayashi Maru test, which for those of you who are Star Trek fans, you probably heard about that in Wrath of Khan. It's the simulation test, but it's unwinnable, but Kirk wins because he cheats. In any case, it illustrates the contrast of the movie and the biggest strength of it, and that is the contrast and relationship between Kirk and Spock that drives the movie. Now, of course, like I said, Star Trek fans know that Spock was an iconic character back in Star Trek days. Ultimately, whenever I would look at Spock, I was like, Spock, whatever. But ultimately, you forget that Spock is half Vulcan and half human. This Star Trek movie illustrates the fact that Spock is conflicted inside. His logical human side and his Vulcan side, they're at war. And so both Kirk and Spock are know-it-all hotheads, and one leaps before he looks, and one really looks before he leaps. You know, this is just what I love about these characters. And there's this one scene where Kirk and Spock get in each other's faces, and dude, Kirk makes Spock angry, and Spock just snaps and starts just getting in his face, tries to choke him out. Kirk tries to block him, but he's like, nope. Sorry, Kirk. Spock is just a better fighter than you. So, all right. So when all this stuff is going down, they're prepping to take on Nero, and everything's just going down. Now, there's this one scene where Vulcan just gets wiped out. I was like, really? Yeah, this is just what happens. Now, I really like the lens flares in this movie. Now, J.J. Abrams obviously loves his lens flares. I saw that in The Force Awakens. But the fact is, you know, if you hate lens flares, then obviously I understand that. But if you like him like me, cool. And there's this one scene where actually, the camera work in this movie is also done really well. There's a scene where Spock is in this elevator, he pushes a button, he stands still there, and then boom, he's on the bridge. It feels like I've actually stepped onto the Enterprise. The casting choices were great here. Kirk, played by Chris Pine, was awesome. Zachary Quinto as Spock was amazing. He was an awesome actor in this movie, and I can't wait to see him in Star Trek Beyond. In general, Star Trek is just an awesome movie, and it really has lots of great fan service. Like I said, Captain Pike coming in, and also Leonard Nimoy as the old Spock. That's awesome. I love that. Star Trek is a great movie. For those of you who have not seen it, definitely check it out. In my opinion, it's the best movie of 2009, and I'm going to give Star Trek an A. Pew! Alright guys, so post your comments below. Okay, 2 questions for you. First of all, scratch the 2 questions thing. 3 questions. First of all, have you seen this Star Trek movie? If so, what did you think? I'm very interested to discuss this. Question number 2, what is your favorite form of Star Trek media? Like an episode of the show, it could be a movie, anything. And finally, who is your favorite Star Trek character? Mine is Kirk. Whoever your favorite, post your answers for those 3 questions in the comment section below. I will be back tomorrow with my review for Star Trek Into Darkness. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching. And if you like this, like, comment, favorite, hit that subscribe button, and join the Joelinator Club. Chest bump.